Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Welcome to the chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Please, everybody, follow the instructions that you see on the screen as you come into the chat. And I welcome you to another wonderful day at the Perfect Timing Podcast. My name is Perfect. Come on in this morning. We are back at it like a crack at it, automatic like a fomatic, built from tragedy, made for static. Isha understand it. Perfect Timing Podcast. And another day that we're going to have another discussion. And as you see in a lovely thumbnail that I put together for us this morning, we're going to have a round, rompous, wonderful time. We're going to have a great show. I think some people are going to find today's show very entertaining because of the subject matter. We got the one big, beautiful bill. You got to let's, I owe a prayer. God is good. God is great. Thank you for all your blessings. Thank you for the microphone. Thank you for this opportunity once again to come before you and create an awesome show. Thank you for the skill set and the ability to do so. Prayer covering over all those who positively belong to the audience and contribute and participate. I ask all these blessings in your name. Amen. Man, we're going to have a good time today, man. I don't know if you saw the interview. I don't know how much you know about. Woo! I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a good show. Penny heads up, man. It's gonna be a heads up program. How many people know who Kash Patel is? And did you know who Kash Patel was before he became the head of the FBI? That's a good question to start with. Who? How many? Dan Bada, forget about it. Dan, forget about it, Bada Jingo. That's gonna be his name for the podcast, for the Perfect Timing Podcast. His name is going to be Dan, forget about it, Bada Dingo, Bada Jingo. Dan, forget about it, Bada Jingo. So, how many people knew who Dan, forget about it, Bada Dingo was before he got his cabinet position? How many people knew who Kash Patel was? Because it's relevant to the fact of this interview and how they put them together. I'm telling you, we are living in a fantastic time of political theater. Can we get the Trump hands going? Can we get does everybody know how? I mean, you should know. Come on, Trump hands, everybody, let's get the Trump hand going. Kash Patel, Dan, forget about it, Bada Dingo. Interview. It's gonna be a great day. I mean, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna talk. Who came up with Kash Patel? Where did you find Dan Bada Dingo? It's probably the same place that they found Haggy Baby. Pete Haggy. Do you know how Pete Haggy, Pete Haggy Baby, put quietly. But Dan Bonadingo, Kash Patel did an interview. It's a great interview. We're going to watch the interview. I mean, just before we just look at these eyes. Dude, look at. I can't look. Look at this. Look at this. You can't make this up. Look that Kash Patel. That's the guy right there. Can't make none of this up. Kash Patel, Don Bonadingo, Kash Patel, fantastic interview. But we also got to start the program. We have the very talented, well-informed. Can you say beautiful? I don't know if you can say beautiful no more, but the woman is gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? The woman is beautiful. I don't know if you can say that anymore, but Caroline Leavitt holds a briefing and discusses Trump big beautiful bill. The Trump big beautiful bill advances. So we're gonna take a look before we get into Kash Patel. What's up with Mrs. Perfect Timing? How you doing, baby? Everybody hit the like button. So all the old people watching me who don't know how to hit the like button, up in the upper right-hand corner, there are three dots. They are called ellipses. What you do is you hit those three dots. Under those three dots, you're going to see a like. That's if you're watching on a cell phone. 80 to 90% of the people watching me watch on a cell phone. 80 to 90% of the people watching me are old as Methuselah. You know what I'm saying? Double tap the screen. All of that beautiful, wonderful support is much needed. How's your day going, baby? How you doing today? We're gonna have a good day today. We talking about Trump tax cuts. It's relevant. It's very relevant to people like you and me. One of the things I'm gonna talk about when we talk about the big beautiful bill is couples and how taxes work for couples, because I come from a sector, and my baby said thumbs up, going good. I come from a sector in the internet where a lot of people, poo and boohoo relationships, and I was about to say I understand, but honestly, I truly don't understand. And this is why when you hear about people discuss leadership, and I've talked about this a lot when it comes to Trump, and how leadership in marriage is one of the character tests when it comes to being a president, a CEO, or a pastor, preacher, anything like that, where the overall group and community has to lend their trust to a man. One of the things that the overall community, children, women, and men, all included, you know what I'm saying? Because you're being judged. I mean, it's not just the people who vote, but you're being judged by an array of people. So one of the ways that people know to trust the character and the mettle of a man is whether or not he's able to be successfully and honorably married, right? Not only successfully and continually married, but honorably married, right? That he honored his wife and family, did well by us, because all men, women, and children know how difficult it is to do that and accomplish that task, right? So any man that's able to do that, and that's something that we look for when we're judging men for leadership roles, right? And that is what we reward in society, whether or not it's rewarded on the internet, and we're honest about that reality. And a lot of times, I think purposely, in the sector where you have minority, low income. I'm not low income, but some would attribute me to be a minority. I don't subscribe to being a minority, but there is an issue with certain sectors of the American population as it relates to marriage and their understanding of coupling. You know what it makes me think about? It makes me think about the LGBTQ community and their fight for marriage. When I read the intricacies, and we're going to get into the deets, not everything, because the bill has a long way to go. The big, beautiful bill has a long way to go. And I want to get to the fun just as much as you want to get to the fun with Kash Patel and Don Bonadingo. But I got to talk about this couples, because, when a lot of emphasis from the Democrats and what you see about this bill. So a lot about this bill can be unpacked, like 2025, the agenda 2025. Like a lot of people said, Trump wasn't about the agenda 2025, but you could argue that the 2025 Heritage Foundation, a lot of us argued that we wanted 2025 and the Heritage Foundation's agenda because it's a conservative, traditional, Christian, conservative, traditional Christian tradition. A lot of people may not subscribe to the Christian tradition that was the plan 2025. But what you need to understand is this existential cultural battle that took place during the presidential election that's being played out in policy and legislation, and how it's played out via policy and legislation over previous years. You know what I'm saying? Via the Green Bill, the Green Act, and Joe Biden. I discussed Joe Biden's presidency and his legislation and what he put forward. If you recall, the Green New Deal wanted to reclassify mothers and single mothers as jobs and pay single women for simply being women and single mothers. And this was in the legislation. And I said to individuals on this platform, I said, this is existing because these individuals are writing it. The women are writing the policy of the DNC. The women and the LGBT community is writing policy in the DNC and the Democratic Party, which is why you saw Mike Waltz and individuals like that being nominated to the DNC who care more about LGBTQ social issues like tampons in bathrooms versus taxes, which we're going to talk about today in the big beautiful bill, but under that same social engineering guys, they also, DNC Democratic liberals, had policy to back up what we currently live in. Some of it, term it different names and different ideologies, but when we talk about single mothers and we talk about the ability for this cultural some people call it cultural breakdown, and that's why there was such a big fight against Agenda 2025, because Agenda 2025 would take away the undergirding and the crutches that held up whorism and single parenthood and single motherhood. And that's just the fact of the matter. That's why you saw a lot of women saying this was an existential fight with not allowing Donald Trump to become president, because he would unravel what upheld our ability to act in the culture that you currently exist in, that we're sick and tired of. Some people have called it black fatigue. I'm not subscribing to black fatigue, but there is something to be discussed about when we talk about, I would love to call it democratic fatigue. How can we call it liberal fatigue? Why does it have to be racial? Because if it's racial, then people don't understand the policy. It's not about the color of your skin. It's not about your race. It's not about your gender. But if we talked about it, what it actually is, it's not black fatigue. 80% of all Americans, white, black, purple, and green, voted for Donald Trump. And it was because they had liberal fatigue, not black fatigue. They had liberal, they were tired of liberal Democrats lying, saying they're about low income, saying they're about inner cities, saying they're about the people, but then voting with the donor class and corporate America. People had fatigue with the DNC. There was no fatigue racially. And isn't it funny that the Democrats lose, and every argument that a Democrat has made and liberals made has to be about race? Why do they keep going? Because that has been their bread and butter. That is how they get you distracted and not pay attention. And that's why they will tease Trump, but I believe it's great marketing. And Trump is a great marketer, a great president, a great deal maker. You see what he's done with the tariffs. You see what he's doing with Putin. You see what he's doing with the Ukraine. You see what he did with Saudi Arabia. So when he calls it the one big, beautiful bill, that is awesome marketing. And then if you get into the minutia and the understanding of the one big beautiful bill, then you understand how the liberals and the Democrats, while they were selling you social engineering and social justice, they were putting down policy, baby. Policy that undergirded what you saw. Kids running in, 15 kids running in Macy's, all of the homelessness. See, it wasn't just happening. There were policy behind, i.e., you could steal up to $1,000. Then you saw videos of individuals running into Macy's. You didn't see it before the Democratic policy. See, that was policy undergirding the behavior that you see and exhibit in your community. So when you see rampant gang violence, when you see rampant single parents, right, and children, it's policy undergirding these things. And the big, beautiful bill does a great job of addressing liberal policy that has created and degraded America to focus on make America great again. And like I initially started to talk about couples, going back to why LGBTQ individuals fought so hard to get, and if you remember your buddy Biden that everybody talking about, Biden was the one Remember, I told you how Biden got coupled with Obama, and Biden and Obama in the first time, specifically Biden, if you remember, just like the Kash Patel Bonadingo interview we're going to watch, how Biden was staunchly against gay marriage. And I had never heard of the term civil union before I heard Joe Biden put it forth. And Joe Biden and then Obama would always back it up. Now, on the second term, Obama had a more leadership aspect and voice on the fact that, gay marriage would become legalized. But in the first term, Joe Biden led, that Clinton's led, and that's when I've never heard of a civil union before. But it came out of the Clintons, it came out of Joe Biden, and Obama just until they needed the votes, and they co-opted because you don't know about we talked before about log cabin Republicans, and people assume all gay people are Democrats, but they don't know about the log cabin Republicans. But the Democratic Party. See, people think it wouldn't be fair to say the Democratic Party, because this is what Yvette Carnell and ADOS and FBA don't understand. It's not fair to say the Democratic Party co-opted the LGBTQ community. It would be more true to say that the LGBTQ community co-opted the DNC. Because what ended up happening is, and this is what people say about Black people not being victims in doing politics, because gay people found themselves in a position in America. If you Black like me, you watch gay people went from being the butt of all jokes. Right now in America, who's the butt of all jokes? Black people are the butt of jokes. But you know what you can't do? Even Dave Chappelle, one of the best comedians, you can't make a gay joke. Do you know you can't make a gay joke? But every podcast with a white boy, it's to say the N-word, and there's some white girls saying the N-word, and it's the biggest thing. But it's so passe because we see it every couple years. We saw it with the guy from Seinfeld, where white comedians and white podcasters, when they don't have any talent, they go to the N-word. But what I'm focusing on is that they can do it. And for a long time, I lived in America where you could do the same thing to gay people. You could do the same thing to short people, but we had a whole transition, and you cannot make gay jokes anymore. Do you see every time I say LGBTQ, the algorithm takes away all my viewers? Do you understand? People in the chat, I was watching Tim Dillon, and Tim Dillon, one of my favorite comedians, he's a gay comedian, but you know what I noticed about the Tim Dillon podcast? How many times the N-word? There's so many racist jokes on the internet. Like, it's been an explosion of racism on the internet. But you can't do that with gay people. Do you get that? You know how powerful that is? So I don't think it's fair to say that the DNC co-opted the LGBT community. I would say that the LGBT community did politics, understood politics, and then took over the DNC and rewrote the platform. They rewrote the platform. I educated you about the fact that before we got Biden, when Trump won the first time, one of the ways Trump won is that there was fighting in the DNC. That's how Donna Brazile got caught. See, Hillary Clinton would have won. Hillary Clinton would have beat Trump, but there was infighting in the DNC. What was happening is there was a takeover. You had the Clinton coalition and the brand new power. See, they didn't understand the money behind LGBTQ. Now people realize, because J.D. Vance, billion-dollar backer, is a gay technocrat. But Clinton didn't understand the power. Clinton didn't understand the power. So there was infighting in the DNC. That's what stopped Hillary Clinton. They had the FBI. They had everything. How could Hillary Clinton lose? She had Comey. We're going to talk about that. Hillary Clinton had everything going for her. She had Russian collusion, which was a lie. Hillary Clinton should have won. How did Hillary Clinton fumble that? We never really talk about that. Hillary Clinton lost because the true leaders of the party, think about what we're going to talk about today. Hillary Clinton lost because the true leaders of the party wanted someone who would be their figurehead. Hillary Clinton didn't know. See, it wasn't about Hillary Clinton didn't really lose to Trump. Hillary Clinton lost to the DNC. And the LGBT powerful people who took over the DNC wanted somebody who would champion their platform. If you remember, they wanted to take out all of the gender pronouns of the DNC platform. When Trump won, there was almost a fight. There was almost a fight in the DNC because they wanted to take out him, her, and all of that out the platform. And there was a fight. There was a fraction in the DNC. There was two different sides. Hillary Clinton got caught in that. No one ever talked about it. So what ended up happening is Trump won, but what also happened is those people won the DNC and they chose Biden because Biden would push forward their agenda. They rewrote the platform. And Biden, everybody was like, damn, Biden did the crime bill. Biden is kind of different as president. Biden is a good Democrat and a good politician. Biden was chosen because he's a good, same reason why Hillary Clinton chose him to help with the crime bill. The individuals who were really running the country, the individuals who took over the DNC, do y'all know what the DNC and the RNC is? The individuals who were really in power in the DNC chose Biden, because that's what happens. The DNC chooses okay, if you don't get it and how the DNC chose Biden, do you see how they chose Kamala? They didn't even have a convention. The DNC is the people who chose Kamala and said, we're not going to have a convention. Did anybody ever ask, who is doing that? Who is that powerful? Who can say we're not going to have a convention? Who going to just put Kamala in as the president? Who is doing? No one ever asked. Who is doing all these power moves? Because that's a big power move. That's a big power move. So Biden is out, Kamala is in, and we not going to have a convention. Who the fuck is making all these decisions? Who is saying this? Who is this? We still today, there's an announcement about Biden being sick. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm too old to talk about somebody having cancer. I pray for Biden and his cancer. I truly do. So I'm not going to talk negatively about the president. I respect my country. I respect President Biden. I pray for him. I pray for his family. I pray for everyone dealing with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis that's not to be played about. We pray for the president. But I wonder if the American people truly understand what's taking place in their country. Do you get what happened with the DNC? Do you get why you got Mike Waltz? Everybody was like, why did we get Mike Waltz? You don't know who's running the DNC. Yeah, and no one's ever asked, how did Kamala get put in like a goddamn queen? How do you kick out Biden, put in Kamala, and say we're not having a convention? Who has the power to do that? No one ever talks about it. When we watch today's interview with Kash Patel and Don Bonadingo, we're going to scratch the surface. Think about this. When we watch the interview with Kash Patel and Don Bonadingo, you scratch the surface at who these people are. Because that's what Kash Patel has been telling everybody. Kash Patel is telling everybody, hey, there has been this powerful magical hand. They stole the election. That's what Kash Patel said on the interview today. That the Democrats and the people I'm talking about stole the election. The people I'm talking about lied about January. This is not conjecture. Kash Patel, the leader of the FBI, Don Bonadingo, will speak to everything I'm talking about today. It doesn't matter if you know about who co-opted the DNC and what Donna Brazile lying in the debate, Donna Brazile lying in the presidential debate and cheating in the presidential debate. It doesn't matter if you know who Donna Brazile is. It doesn't matter if you don't understand how the DNC works. What matters is that Trump is in office, and that he put people in Cash Patel in power, Don Bonadingo in power, and the big, beautiful bill, which you thought would not pass, is moving forward. And now, when there were policies that supported single parents, now the focus is shifting to policy supporting marriage and families and couples. The tax breaks will be triple if you a couple. Yeah, that's Agenda 2025. When before single mothers and these goddamn gangbangers and welfares got all of the goddamn benefits. You get more for your tax child credit if you're a single mother. You get all this bullshit. Well, now, since we have a Republican conservative in office, the policy and agenda changes to families, couples. When they told you don't get married, oh, forget marriage. Oh, marriage is a bad deal. You don't want to get married. Well, now the big, beautiful bill is going to triple tax cuts and benefits for couples. Do y'all remember why the LGBTQ people even wanted to get married? I'm sure if there was a Democratic president, somebody would try to get me in trouble and say, no, we want to get married because we were in love. No, you could already get married. They fought for legal marriage and tax. And when you die and all of the things that Trump has in the big, beautiful bill, now gay married people get the benefit from these estate taxes. You know, anybody know about the big, beautiful bill and how when you die, how it gonna help keep money in your family? And now that gay people can legally be married, which is in our recent time with Joe Biden and Obama, they get the benefit, for which is maybe why J.D. Vance backer is a gay man, a billionaire gay man. And that may be why, y'all are not paying attention, boy. Y'all not paying attention, boy. Y'all not paying. How is it in low-income minority communities, the trend is to not get married? But gay people make a lot of money, and the trend in the gay community is to not only get married, but to adopt children. Again, taxes, estate, birth, like, why do they understand money, but Black people, minorities, low-income people are not understanding the benefits of marriage and children? Not only marriage, but successful, honorable marriage. Like honoring your wife, honoring your children so that they create good progeny, and that expands the wealth of not just being married for the sake of marriage. Oh, I get it. Perfect. You saying get married so I could keep more of my. No, it's not just that, but honorable marriage. Honorable marriage so that you can pass on those things. Let me I got to get everybody out of here because we having a good show. We having a good talk. Let's get these people out of here. So we can have a decent show. All right. All the real people could come on in and watch the TV now. All the real people could come on in and watch the stream. Who is that? I have a thumbnail and I have a title, Josh. So let me go ahead and get you up out of here. All right. I don't know where they come from, y'all. I don't know where they come from. They just zap. I had like almost 20 people watching. Next thing you know, the trolls come in and the people go away and everything. One of the days they may do a thing about how kids have figured out, how kids have figured out how to fuck with your live stream. You know what I'm saying? So, and then here I am, I'm a YouTuber, I'm doing research, and kids probably just laughing like, he doesn't know we know how to shut down his live stream. As soon as the views go up, I don't know if it's them, I don't know if it's YouTube, but they just kill it. They just kill it. Straight up kill it. As soon as the podcast get to popping, it's like somebody does something, hit a button, and I'm in the shadow right now. Like nobody's even watching right now. It's been zero. Like they hit a button and it just went to a shadow. We was doing good, people watching, being entertained. Oh shit. Jehovah Witness. I ain't never seen no Jehovah Witness around here. First time Jehovah Witness. But I grew up with Jehovah Witness, so I'll always be kind. I didn't have time to chop it up with them. Normally I would have a talk with the Jehovah Witness because I love God. So I always appreciate I always talk to the Mormons who be on the mission. Y'all know I went to high school in Arizona, so I went to high school with Mormons. So I always respect people who have that level of commitment. I came from a time in America where people respect hard work and commitment. So if you believe in God, right, and you believe in your religion and you are committed to the point where you will go out twice a week and go to church on Sunday, because I used to go to church every Sunday, so I just imagine, and then knocking on strangers' doors. You got to knock on strangers' doors. Ryder, you better say something else besides hello. Let me just get you up out of here. I'm tired of people saying hello. Oh, what's wrong with the trolls, man? Say, God damn. Fuck. Tired of people just saying hello, man. Fuck wrong with you, man. Go somewhere else. Weirdo motherfuckers. Fucking weirdo motherfuckers. There's too many weirdo motherfuckers, man. Fuck. Motherfucker, it just was a bad hurricane. It was a bad tornado. I'm convinced nothing will change. Nothing is going to change nothing. I'm convinced we don't even have to worry about Trump being president. We don't have to worry about World War III. We are past idiocracy. I remember people used to talk about idiocracy. We are past, because of the movie, we have leapfrog past idiocracy. Nothing will help us. World War III is not going to help us. Nothing is not going to help us. Complete idiots. Americans are full of complete idiots. And it's a choice. We choose to be racist. We choose to be dumb enough that people could use race to distract us from tax breaks that could benefit our children and benefit our retirement plans going forward. That's how stupid we are. We so fucking stupid that we allow a gender and sex and who somebody's fucking to fuck with our money. Man, and why billionaires is making all the fucking money. Everybody is a fucking company man. I can't believe how everybody is a fucking company man. Everybody's a fucking company man. Motherfuckers be happy for motherfuckers is happy for Jeff Bezos. Motherfuckers is happy for billionaires. Weirdo shit. How you happy for a billionaire and you don't got no retirement, you ain't got no pension? Why are you happy for a billionaire and you don't got shit? You know what I'm saying? We used to be what they say in other countries, they're scared of the people. Here, the government wants you to be scared of them. And they use police to make you afraid. And it's the weirdest, most perverse shit. We're supposed to be the best country in the world, and the American people are racist, stupid, and cowards. Scared of the police. You know what I'm saying? Because the police is what keep the powerful in power, and scared of the police, and then fucking hate your brother because of the color of their skin. And that's because you're cowards. There's people for people to be mad at and hate, for white boys to be mad at and hate, but instead they take out their emotions, their mommy emotions on minorities and poor people because they're fucking cowards. Fucking cow. Where was all that white anger and hate when these motherfucking liberals was taking away your families, every fucking thing? You motherfuckers protested and killed a white woman in Charlottesville. And then you motherfuckers, if it wasn't for Trump, 1,500 of you motherfuckers would be in prison. Stupid. Fuck, and they talk about a race war, how white boys gonna win the race war. That was the race war. Stupid motherfuckers got arrested. Stupid motherfuckers went to Washington and got arrested and whine and cry. 1,500. Thank God for Trump to save you dummies. And then black men like me got to vote for Trump so you can go home to your family. And when you go home to your family, again, you want to say racist shit about black people. Like, that's going to help your life be better. That didn't get you out of jail. Trump got you out of jail. Hey, black people voted for Trump is why you're out of jail. So I don't understand the stupid shit that comes online. If it wasn't for black men voting for Trump, you would still be in prison. And those fucking liberal Democrats will keep you in jail for the rest of your fucking life. If Kamala Harris would have won, you would never see the light of day because they would have put Donald Trump in jail. Do y'all know how important 2028 is? For all the racist fucking cucks, do you know how important 2028 is? They will put your white ass back in jail. Do you know if I was racist, I would vote Democrat because they're going to put your white ass back in jail. If they win in 2028, they will prosecute Trump. They will prosecute you white boys. You know how important it is? We can't be focused on race. We can't be focused on race. If we don't focus on conservative American principles, man, fathers, husbands, families, gone. Because in 2028, there will be a similar fatigue. There will be a similar backlash on conservatism from that left wing, and the left is violent. See, all conservatives want to do is live. Think about what it is. MAGA is make America great. That's all positive. It's all God. Make America great. Great is godly. But the Democrats are fucking violent, bro. If the Democrats get power back in 2028, it will be bedlam. They don't just want America great. They don't have a similar slogan. They want your fucking head. And what white men want to do when we have the time to make sure that we can build goodwill in the world and the country, white men want to be fucking racist and fuck up everything. And you're going to fuck yourself, you stupid racist fucks. You're going to waste this opportunity. White men are so fucking cucking stupid. So fucking cucking stupid. If you be racist for the next 4 years, there's a guarantee the Democrats will win. You will piss away all your goodwill because you're fucking children. That's why white women don't want to marry white men, because you're grown fucking babies. Grown fucking babies. They don't want to be your fucking mommies and change and wipe your fucking asses. If you piss away all the goodwill, Being racist little kids, Santa Con, getting drunk in Santa suits. If you piss away all the goodwill, they will win in 2028. And they will come back and they will prosecute January 6th again. They prosecuted R. Kelly twice. They're prosecuting Diddy for nothing. They gave Trump 36 felonies. All you stupid white boys who think you can't happen to you. Trump didn't think he could go to jail for a felony for a misdemeanor. They turned a white billionaire. They took a misdemeanor and turned it into 30. They will prosecute you again. They're waiting. They're waiting for you to fuck up, white boy. They're waiting, and they know that you emotionally can't fucking handle the power. Fucking white men get on my fucking nerves. Fucking white men again. I'm trying to make white men be brothers with other, and you fucking stupid fucking cucks. You care more about whiteness, and you're not even fucking white. You're fucking Polish. You're fucking Russian. You're fucking German. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. All this white shit is fucking stupid. You're going to piss away the goodwill. 80 to 90% of the people who voted for Trump, they want conservative. They don't want liberal policies that encourage single parents, that encourage kids running into Macy's because they can steal up to $1,000. People got tired of liberal policies. It's not black fatigue. All of you Uncle Toms, it's not black fatigue. I know it makes you money. All the Uncle Toms, I know it makes you money to say black fatigue. It's not black fatigue, you Uncle Tom. It's, if you look at the coalition who voted for Trump, it's not black fatigue. And that was only 100 days ago. Trump took office only, it's not even the second, third quarter of the first term, of the first year of his 4-year term. Everybody voted for Trump, white, black, blue, brown. It's not black fatigue, Uncle Tom. It's not black fatigue. It is fatigue for liberal policies that created a law where you saw 20 poor kids run into a shopping center and steal all the Rolexes. That never happened before the liberal policy. So Americans on all sides are fucking tired. We're fucking tired. We're fucking tired, bro. Black, white, purple, brown, we're all fucking tired of liberal fucking policies that say it's okay to be fucking unwed. It's okay to be a fucking criminal. It's okay to be fucking homeless. We're tired of that shit, bro. That's what happened. It's not black fatigue. But I know the Uncle Tom wants to make money. The Uncle Tom needs to make money. So he calls it black fatigue. And the Uncle Tom, the people saying black fatigue are also Democrats. Because the Democrats use race. The people saying black fatigue are Democrats. You know what the Republican conservatives are talking about? A big, beautiful bill. Tax breaks. Tax breaks for couples. Incentives to get married. Incentives to stay married because when you die, you're going to get a tax break. Incentives to get married and stay married. Yes, it's traditional. Yes, it's conservative. Yes, the liberals won't like it, but fuck them. Fuck them. They don't give a fuck about you when they're in power. Fuck them. I like families. I'm for conservative traditionalism. Fuck the liberals. Fuck them. Tax break for fucking couples. I'm in a couple, fucker. I want fucking conservative traditionalism. Fuck the liberals. Fuck single parents. Fuck the little gangsters. Fuck the little fucking liberal policies that empower the little gangsters to run in the fucking store and steal anything they fucking want. Fuck them. Fuck them. So everybody's focused on Diddy. How many people know about the big, beautiful bill? How many people know about the tax cuts for couples? How many know about the Trump tax cuts that Biden kept in place are about to expire if we don't pass this bill? Everybody knows about who's testifying in the Diddy trial. But if you're married, if you have a job, if you are politically advantageous, like we preach on this channel, you are paying attention to the fact that Trump's signature bill is advancing through the House. Joe Biden and the Democrats couldn't pass any meaningful legislation and policy. That was part of Kamala's problem when she ran for president. She didn't have anything to run on. Kamala didn't have anything to run on. When Trump passes the big, beautiful bill and these new tax cuts, the next Republican candidate will have this signature legislation to run on. See, that's when Kamala Harris, I'm going to play for you a clip. Trump is winning a lawsuit today against the news because they edited the Kamala Harris video illegally to make Kamala Harris look good, because Kamala Harris didn't have anything to run on. Kamala Harris didn't have anything to run. When you see this political theater I'm about to show you now, you should be upset. You should be upset.
In that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu...
Let me give you some context. Let me give you some context. What we're about to watch is a 60 minutes interview where I'm a content creator. I create shorts. When I create my shorts, I can edit for 2 hours and I can make the video be whatever I want it to be. I can take words from here, words from there, splice them together. The AI is magical, so I can edit it. What I'm going to show you is 2 different cuts from a 60 minutes interview. The original video, the original content clip, where Kamala Harris stumbles over her answer. Then you will see what aired, the edited content, like the content creator. When I upload a short, you see edited, AI, curtailed, and produced content. You're going to see 2 different videos. One, Kamala Harris will stumble over her answer. The second video, Kamala Harris will answer the question like a presidential queen. She will be stern. She will be stoic. She will have leadership. She will be short, precise, and to the point. In the first clip, she will stumble over her answer. Take a look.
Who is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
But it seems...
Do you guys understand what I tell you about the power of the DNC? Do you understand? This is why she didn't want to go on Joe Rogan. She wanted the power to do this on Joe Rogan. She wanted the power to edit the Joe Rogan interview to be favorable because she cannot answer the questions quickly, intelligent, and concisely. But in editing, she can sound presidential. This is why she didn't want to go on Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan would control the editing and the content. Right now, Donald Trump is having a lawsuit against this television, and that lawsuit is doing well because this is manipulation of the American public and your vote. This is illegal. When we talk about propaganda, this is what propaganda, when I say idiocracy, when I say the American people have moved idiocracy, when I get frustrated and call the American people fucking idiots, this is what I mean. When I say they should have to work harder to trick you, this is what I mean. I'm saying they don't even have to work hard to fool you. And I say you should, if you don't want to be more intelligent, fine. But I say they should have to work harder to trick you. They're not even working hard and they're tricking you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Let's watch the banana in the tailpipe.
Prime Minister Netanyahu is not.
The top is the actual answer. The bottom is the edited answer that aired on television. You know, TV, you know, that fake thing that your mama and daddy told you, stop watching the TV because it'll ruin your brain because everything on the TV is bullshit. Remember when your mama and daddy said, no more TV? Stop watching the damn TV because your mama and daddy understood the TV was bullshit. They read the newspaper. The TV is bullshit because they can edit the TV. The TV is bullshit. Let's take a look at some what my mama and daddy used to call TV magic. Actual answer on the top, edited answer on the bottom. TV magic.
Listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Wow.
But it seems that
wow, that's a stark difference. You see the difference? That is a stark difference. That is let's read the tweet. Let's read the tweet. Let's read the tweet. The tweet says this. It says, good morning. PBS president and CEO Wendy Mickelson has resigned amid President Trump $10 billion lawsuit. Okay? And so some people are saying she stepped down because President Trump is suing and she's trying to stand by her principles. But what happened today is the CEO is, now I did some research. Come to find out that the CEO, what's up, Big Daddy Beer Gaming? How you doing this morning, man? Good morning. Salute to you. Come to find out the CEO used to work in Georgia and she just used to do 10-second side bits, right? So that's just a clip from that. But let's go look at the big, beautiful bill, moving forward in the House and the tax cuts. And then we're going to go to Kash Patel and Don Bonadingo. You got to see this Kash Patel, Don Bonadingo interview.
Take It Down Act will protect victims of digital exploitation, hold internet platforms accountable by requiring them to remove such imagery from their platforms, and provide justice for victims by allowing prosecutors to go after those who publish non-consensual explicit images online. The First Lady met with members in the House and the Senate, survivors and their families, and advocates throughout the process to get this bill across the finish line. We are grateful for the First Lady's hard work and dedication to this issue. And moving forward, she will continue to champion the well-being of our nation's children through her Be Best agenda. I know the President looks forward to signing that bill into law later this afternoon, and we will see you all there. In other news, the One Big Beautiful Bill passed the House Budget Committee last night, bringing it one step closer to final passage. The One Big Beautiful Bill is perfectly named because it represents a once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver on the Make America Great Again agenda responsible for President Trump's landslide victory on November 5th. The America First policies in this bill are the reason why Republicans currently have the majority in Congress right now. Passing this bill is what voters sent Republicans to Washington to accomplish. And that's why it's essential that every Republican in the House and the Senate unites behind President Trump and passes this popular and essential legislative package. This bill will be the single most pro-small business, pro-family, and pro-American worker legislation ever.
Pro-small business.
Amazon offers hourly employees help.
Pro-small business, pro-family bill ever. Pro-small business, pro-family bill. When the last time you even heard that? We heard about so many things under the liberals and the Democrats, but when the last time you heard somebody say pro-small business, pro-family? The odd thing is that when I was a kid, the Democrats used to say things like this. The Democrats used to be pro-small business. Nancy Pelosi, we can go find Nancy Pelosi talking about touting small businesses and families. We live in a perverted time. I'm not making this up. I might be old, but it's the fucking truth. Fuck. The Democrats used to give a fuck about families. You can find Nancy Pelosi talking about small business and fucking families. Now it's the Republicans. And I gotta sit here and fucking scream at a fucking cell phone. It's fucking stupid. What is in the big, beautiful bill? Hey, there's a very talented YouTuber named Carlton Dennis. And he gives a great synopsis of what's in the big, beautiful bill. Shout out to the content creator. And my name is Dennis. When I seen this brother, so intelligent, so articulate, I had to take a little clip. It's only a few seconds from his video. And he explains very briefly what possibly may be in the big, beautiful bill, because it's going to go through a lot of changes. Like, it just passed the House committee. The positive thing is that Trump is the president and we have the Congress. So if Congress passes it, even if the Senate doesn't pass it, Trump could sign it into law. So this is what the Democrats couldn't do. If the Republicans can do this, this helps the Republicans in the midterms. This helped the Republicans in 2028. It's not about race. We have to get past race as a country. We have to get past race and understand that the liberals, the Democrats are the donor class in corporate America, and they want wages and they want your life to be horrible. So you have to get away from race. You have to start understanding what party is for what. Yes, the Democrats used to be about families and small business, but you haven't heard. This is not me making it up. You can listen for yourself. You can query your brain. You can use Google. You haven't heard the Democrats talk about small business and families for years. They have shifted their agenda. They have shifted their focus. You must pay attention. If this bill passes, this is something that the Republicans, not white people, because remember I said rest in peace to the first Black female Republican, and she was from Utah. Utah's supposed to be racist, but they had the first Black female Republican. So how is Utah racist? It's not about race. It's about these conservative, traditional principles that are under attack, and about the non-conservative principles that have been undergirded by liberal policies that created lawlessness, crime, and single families. Right? You thought there was something wrong with American culture. I argue there is nothing wrong with American culture. I say American women and American families and men are great. I say that there were liberal policies that created and undergirded the behavior that you saw. And the reason you never saw that type of behavior before is you never had no policy that said it was legal to steal. It was great to be a single mom. Those policies never existed. They exist under the Democrats. That's why that culture existed under Democrats. That's why everybody, Democrat, Republican, white, and Black, voted for Trump. It wasn't about race. And I argue it wasn't about party. And I argue that Trump is not a Republican. Trump is about America. Trump is a billionaire. I argue that no billionaire belongs to any party. And I argue that it would be ignorant to argue that a billionaire subscribes to one party's agenda. Trump never subscribed to one party's agenda. That's why he beat Hillary Clinton in the debate. Trump never subscribed to one party's agenda. That's why everybody was confused. Trump, they thought Trump was a Democrat. Trump ran Republican. Trump understood the platform. It's not that I'm not either or, just like the governor of New York, Bloomberg. It's not that I'm either or, I'm running for the certain platform. It's not the red or the blue or the white or the black. It's about the policy and the principle. We get caught up on the wrong thing. Everybody, oh, he's red, he's blue, he's white, he's black. How does that help your pocketbook? How does that help you at the end of the month when you need 3 times the rent? When the PG&E about to go up? When Con Edison about to go up because the heat about to go up? What you gonna do in the summertime when your family wants to cut on the air conditioner and you don't have the money? All this shit is fun and games until it's real life. And Trump is talking about giving you a tax break and your wife wants the air conditioner on because it's hot, motherfucker. And at that point in time, you don't care about white, you don't care about black, you don't care about red, you don't care about blue. You know what you care about? Your wife. And whether or not she's going to look at you as a fucking man if she can cut the gosh darn air conditioner on, brother. That's all that fucking matters. The TV, the YouTube, the trolls want you to be caught up on whether or not something is Democratic, something is Republican, something is conservative, something is fucking liberal. Fuck all that when it gets 115 degrees. Right now, there was a fucking tornado. God bless those, 13 people died. God bless those people, that's families. I say a prayer to cover those people, those families. God bless them. I pray for those people. Thank you, Father God, for just putting it on our hearts. I pray for those Americans and those families. I ask all these prayers in your name. There was a tornado. Those people right now, you think they care about Democrat, Republican, white, black? All that matters is I'm an American. And something bad happened to me, and America is supposed to be here for me. I'm an American citizen. America gave $15,000 a month to those people. America has sanctuary cities. America paid for hotels. All that matters to me is that I'm an American. And if they got hotels, if they got sanctuary cities, if they got $15,000 a month in food stamps, then what do we get as Americans? See, it matters about being an American at a certain point, but they've been tricking you for 4 years. The liberal Democrats been tricking you for 4 years. They want you to give away everything that you had as an American. Everything, give it away, give it to everybody. You can have food stamps, you can have a hotel, you can have a driver's license, even though you didn't come here legally. My son don't have a driver's license. But there's a tornado. There's American suffering. There was a fire in LA. There's American suffering. What are we going to do for the Americans, liberal Democrats? You said go to Ukraine. Give Ukraine all his money. Liberal Democrats. What are we going to do for the Americans? It's make America great again. I would love to hear from a Democrat. What is your slogan? Because all the Democrats want to do is burn up Teslas, hurt people, protest, break glass. I don't think that's making America great. Create laws that encourage lawlessness, single parents, gangs, and crime. Please, liberal Democrats, tell me what the fuck you want. What the fuck is your focus? Because we saying we want America great. The fuck do you want, bro? And the big, beautiful bill is how we do it via policy. And what you need to understand is the world where people were robbing and stealing and doing all this shit was created by policy, liberal policy. We need to change all of that shit. and institute policy that focuses on families. And what you need to understand is everybody doesn't like that. Everybody doesn't like policy that encourages marriage, because what you hear a lot and what's so popular is relationships. Relationship. Does she like me? Relationship. This woman, men gets woman, battle of the sexes on every channel, on everything is relationships. And now we saying, forget all of that BS. Bring family, God, traditionalism, conservatism, marriage, and love and honor of the family. Not just being married, but being honorably married, because there's going to be a cut to estate tax if you stay married. When you pass away, you keep more money. So it encouraged people not just be married, be honorably married. Do you understand what I mean? Stay married, because you build the wealth, pass on the wealth, create generational wealth. We all know the term generational wealth. No one is telling us keys. It's stay married. Stay married. Honor your significant other, whomever it is, whatever gender it is. We're past all of the BS. Whatever, whomever. Stay married, bro. Honor your commitment and be rewarded for that. And understand that you need to vote your conscience. And understand, when you didn't care about politics and you thought you could go to work and just love your wife and you didn't vote, what happened was there were people in power that refocused America, and you had to vote for Trump. No one ever asked, you know what? I never really cared about politics. I went to work, I paid my bills. My wife did that. I had to vote for Trump because I saw America changing. I saw people running into the store, stealing. I never saw that before. Then I heard about a law that said you could steal up to $1,000. What if that law became a federal law under the Democrats? They start everything in California. Legal marijuana started in California. So what if they have legal marijuana, then now it's everywhere? What if they start a law in California where you can steal up to $1,000? Then you have these gangs of hoodlums running into the stores in California. Then that law spreads. Do you know they had that law in a couple Democratic states? In every state they had that law, you saw that crime. Sanctuary cities. Sanctuary for what? Let's take a look from this very talented content creator. This brother, Carlton Dennis. My name is Dennis. My YouTube name, persona is Perfect Timing Podcast. This brother, very intelligent, great subscribers, articulate, to the point, better than me. So I'm very impressed. So I'm going to show, he's going to encapsulate what may be in the big, beautiful bill, because like I said, it still has to go through committee and before it passes. So let's take a listen to Carlton Dennis and see what he has to say.
Legislative effort backed by President Donald Trump and Republican lawmakers. It is projected that the bill will include multiple conservative objectives bundled into one major package that will serve as a central pillar of the GOP's legislative agenda. The bill has not been fully written yet, and there are likely to be a number of edits and changes once the original draft is written. However, here's what is likely to be in the bill on the budget proposal and Trump's various promises. Number one, a tax overhaul, a renewal of the 2017 Trump's tax cuts combined with fresh tax breaks, such as exempting tips and Social Security benefits from taxation. Spending realignment, increased funding for the military and border infrastructure, offset by deep spending reductions. Energy and environmental rollbacks, possible elimination of clean energy subsidies enacted under the Inflation Reduction Act, signaling a redirection in national energy priorities. Border and immigration enforcement, enhanced funding for border security efforts, including renewed investment in wall construction and expanded detention operations. Although the passage of the budget resolution is a pivotal milestone, the border bill faces an uphill battle in Congress. Lawmakers remain divided over the scale of spending cuts and the fate of provisions like green energy incentives. Furthermore, reconciliation rules limit what can be included, extending measures lacking direct physical consequences. As Congress moves forward,
So thank you to the content creator, Carlton Dennis. What he said in that brief synopsis is they're going to have some tax breaks and tax credits for families and small businesses, offset by taking away some of what Biden did. And this is what Trump actually talked about on the campaign trail. If we go into the minutia and the details, Trump has received criticism about the specifically the not taxing tips. Do you guys remember Trump getting criticism for saying he wasn't going to tax tips? Well, that is actually in the big, beautiful bill. What I would share with anyone who doesn't understand what we're doing here today is that in the bill, those cuts are temporary and will expire in 2028. So if it is paramount that the bill passes, and it is paramount that you understand why it needs to pass, because you need another conservative Republican candidate in 2028 to keep the tax breaks and credits going. You understand what I'm saying? For those of us who care about people who work in the service industry, like waitresses, I live in California, it's a big deal in California, then you're going to make sure not only that the bill passes, but someone in 2028 is there to support the bill and those tax cuts, because they go away in 2028. That's why it's so important what is going on. So I want to show that, and I have something to actually show that. How's everybody doing today? We're gonna get to Kash Patel, but I want to state and local tax deductions. SALT is in the bill. I don't know how many people are SALT Republicans, but we're gonna talk about cuts to Medicaid. I had it up here, but man, I be doing my research and things get bounced around. I be doing my research. So just, you gotta take my word for it. You gotta take my word for it that a lot of the campaign promises, and specifically when it comes to things like the tips, they are included in the bill, but they are temporary. So Trump promised that tips would be tax-free. That is in the big, beautiful bill, but they expire in 2028. So people are criticizing the big, beautiful bill because they expire in 2028. For me, it incentivizes Americans to be politically advantageous, like I have asked, right? And like I have requested is necessary. Because if we are politically advantageous and we understand that the tax breaks expire in 2028, then we get fired up about the midterms, because the midterms will detail what happens in 2028. So we go vote again. We don't sit at home. We don't let racism keep us from voting conservative. We don't let the racist cuck white boys in the chat stop us from moving forward with the big, beautiful bill. We go vote in the midterms and we go vote in 2028, because we understand the liberal agenda is not for families, small businesses, and making America great again. We understand now. We understand now the agenda of the DNC. We didn't understand why and who Kamala Harris was working for. We didn't understand who and why and what Joe Biden was supporting and working for. All the questions surrounding Joe Biden's health, all it should make you ask is, who was he working for? Who put Kamala Harris in as the presidential nominee without a convention? Do you know they had almost a physical fight? When you think about what I've taught you today, when you think about what I taught you about when Trump first won the first presidency and how there was this rift and there was this fight in the DNC and how they wanted to change the Democratic platform. They wanted to remove he and her out of the Democratic platform. There was this huge fight. When you think about that and you think about who won, you gotta ask yourself, if the Democratic DNC was so contentious, where they were fighting, there was video, they were fighting. We want to change the platform. If the Democratic DNC, if the convention was so contentious just a few years ago, how is it that everybody had a consensus that we won't even have a convention? Just a few years ago, there was physical violence at the DNC convention because they wanted to change the platform. And this year, just a few years later, we don't even have an argument. There's no pushback. There's 100% consensus on Kamala, so much so that we don't need a convention. We just came to blows. They just were fighting over the platform. They said, nope, we don't need a convention. Who said we don't need a convention? We don't need a convention. Well, what's the platform? See, Americans don't know about a convention. Americans don't know about a platform. I promise you, dollars to donuts. Everybody who trolls me, everybody who comes in my chat with that stupid shit, they don't even fucking understand what the Democratic Convention does. They don't know what the fucking Democratic platform is. And if they did, they wouldn't fucking troll. They wouldn't be fucking racist. They would fucking understand, have more of a broader vision of what took place with Kamala Harris. They would be more concerned and have more question. They would have more query. Wait a minute. The DNC canceled the convention? Does everybody even understand what the convention is used for? Do you know people were shot? If you go back in American history, people were shot. Do you know how Truman and certain people became president and what went down at the motherfucking DNC? We don't know our motherfucking history. It was such a huge coup. It was a fucking coup. If you understand what has taken place at conventions on the RNC and the DNC in the past, we've had gunshots, we have fights. So much has happened. At the convention is where we come down to blows. People got their things and we gonna fight. My guy is gonna be presidential nominee. And we used to fight and shoot people to get certain people to be the presidential nominee at the Democratic Convention. We would come through and argue and fight like soccer. And for the first time, it's almost funny. You gotta laugh. It's laughable. It's funny that we troll each other about race. It's funny because for the first time, we don't have a convention. We don't have a convention. We used to fight. Y'all was just fighting at the convention. You were just fighting over the platform. It's in the history. It's normal to fight at the convention over the platform who gonna be the party. That's normal. And for Kamala Harris, and think about this, it was last minute. It was last minute. Last minute, no convention. My issue is how dumb the public was. My issue is how dumb you guys are. How dumbed down you are. To nobody gave a fuck about the fact that there was no convention. That nobody, let me look it up. I'm gonna look it up. What y'all want to look? Let's say historic. Historic 1968 riots at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. I just put in historic fights at the DNC. This what came up first. Historic fights at the, just so y'all know, they canceled the, this is what they said. They said we don't need a convention. Because kids don't remember. I told y'all about globalization and people under 35 years old. This isn't the night. They don't remember. They don't remember how contentious America has been and what it would look like. What they don't even know what the convention is for. If you look at that, which they don't show you, and you look at January 6th, you might be like, man, January 6th wasn't that bad. January 6th ain't what they told me. Look at America. Look at America. So that's one convention. That's one. Another kind of 1972, and this is a Democratic convention. Is more. The historic 1948 Democratic National Convention. That's the other one I was talking about with Truman. 1948. I'm not going to go into
it. The year was 1948, and the candidate was Harry S. Truman.
Truman.
He was down in the polls at the time and feeling the heat in more ways than one as Southerners once again rebelled.
How do we bid you goodbye?
Delegates from Alabama and Mississippi stormed out of the convention hall in protest after the party adopted a civil rights platform supporting an anti-lynching law, the desegregation of the military, equal opportunity for employment, and the elimination of poll taxes, which prevented poor people from voting.
This was a pivotal moment in the life of the Democratic Party and resulted in the birth of what we consider to be the modern Democratic Party.
You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? How violent change of power and regime was at the DNC. You know what took place at the DNC? Basically a coup. Similar coups typically took place in convention, but basically a coup took place behind closed doors. That the DNC is a public process. You see, Americans were able to come and protest and watch and be part of the process. When they took away at the convention, they took away your ability and your power to be part of the process, and you never said anything. Do you understand what they did by saying we don't need a convention? They never had a right to say we don't need a convention. You are the people. We the people. That's what the papers say. We the people. We say whether or not we have a convention. Who said it? Who made? No one ever asked. You know it'd be a great book. You would know it'd be a great podcast. Who said we're not going to have a convention? Who said we're not going to have a convention? Who had the power? Who had the power to say we're not going to have a convention and Kamala Harris is going to be the candidate with no contention? You see what happens at the convention. People get into fights. People have coups. People storm out. Mississippi wanted poll. Mississippi wanted racism. Mississippi came to fight at the Democrats used to be racist. Shh, don't tell nobody. It used to be the Dixiecrats. The Democratic Party used to be the party of the KKK. Shh, don't tell nobody. In Mississippi, the white racists were in there saying, we want poll tax. We want policy to undergird our racism. And the Democrats used to support racist Dixiecrat, Democrat, Mississippi politics. And what she said is that was the start of the new Democratic Party, where they kicked out. Y'all, am I too soon? Y'all didn't know this? I'm just repeating myself, right? Y'all know this already. Y'all know this. Y'all didn't know about the Democratic Convention and what happened at the why. So I thought y'all knew about why the Democratic Convention is so powerful. I thought y'all knew. I thought they told you. They didn't teach it in school. I thought they told you. I don't know. I assumed everybody. I thought everybody knew. It was kind of odd that they just took away the Democratic Convention. I thought that was kind of odd. You didn't think that was kind of odd, you know? Hmm? 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 Huh? Huh? Yeah, man. You got to know your education, man. It's so you got to go to school, man. You got to go. You might not know the Democratic Party were racist.
48. And the can't.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look. We doing education today. This is what I do on my channel.
It was Harry S. Truman. He was down in the polls at the time and feeling the heat in more ways than one as Southerners once again rebelled.
And we bid you goodbye.
Delegates from Alabama and Mississippi stormed out of the convention hall in protest after the party adopted a civil rights platform supporting an anti-lynching law, the desegregation of the military, equal opportunity for employment, and the elimination of poll taxes.
Do you understand? Alabama and Mississippi and the southern states left the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party under Truman in 1948 adopted a civil rights platform. Maybe, I don't know how many people listening to me just be listening to me just to be my friend, but I don't know how many people understand what a platform is. For 20 minutes, I've been talking about the platform. And when Donald Trump first ran for president, that there was a fight at the DNC over the platform where the LGBTQ community who would come to rule the DNC wanted to remove him and her and all references to gender out of the Democratic platform. And they were defeated, but they had a large contention. In 1948, Mississippi and the Dixiecrats, the racist Ku Klux Klan, used to be the Democrats. The Democrats were the party of Mississippi and the KKK. In 1948, those racist fractions of the Democratic Party left because the Democratic Party adopted a new platform. The Democratic Party in 2016, when Trump ran for president, was going through an internal fight and adopted a new platform. When Biden became the front runner for the Democrats, Biden was chosen to usher in for the same reason Mike Waltz was chosen. You guys don't understand the new DNC. You don't understand. See, we don't need a convention, Dennis. We don't need a convention, Dennis. I already got my platform. It's not your platform, but it's we the people. This Dennis, I'm yelling in the background. Hey, rich billionaire Silicon Valley oligarch LGBTQ is supposed to be the country. It's we the people. Fuck the people. We don't need a convention. I already have my platform. All I need is a talking head to fucking do the job so I can fucking institute my platform. Your platform, it's the American people. No, it's my platform. That's why we don't need a convention. If it was about the American people, I would have had a convention. I would have listened to different people. I would have took in different views of opinions. But it's not about a democratic process. I don't need a convention. I don't need a democratic process. I already have my platform. Oh, Kamala is going to be my talking head. Her job is to do the fucking debate, do the interview, and when you get in office, put in my platform. That's Kamala's job. If Kamala had anything to do with the Democratic platform or agenda was, we would have went to convention. We're not going to convention because we don't need input. We don't need input from the American people. We don't need questions from the American media. We don't need none of that shit. Kamala is our candidate and our platform is already chosen. The American people will just sit by like, what? Who did that? Who did that? Let's go to Kash Patel. Kash Patel, Don Bonadingo. There we go. Kash Patel, Don Bonadingo interview.
Here was, not only did they bastardize the FISA process and lie to the American public, they withheld and hid documentation and put it in rooms where people weren't supposed to look. And it's a good thing we're here now to clean it up, and you're about to see a wave of transparency.
What do you mean?
Just give us about a week or two.
Okay. Well, I can tell you right now that the judge that gave a smack on the wrist on the one agent that lied and, misled the American people, that's the same judge who's back and stopping Donald Trump from doing things, isn't it? Judge Boasberg?
Yeah, I just got to push back. Listen, we've been here 2 months. He's been here a couple more weeks than that. I mean, we've been here 2 months. You're dealing with a 38,000 member organization and an approximately $12 billion budget.
Fair point.
Where to expect us in 2 months to dig up what was a 8-year, maybe longer, multi-year politicized investigation with multiple layers of processes, from Woods procedures being just thrown in the garbage can and flushed down the toilet bowl, to multiple layers of accountability where people lied and obfuscated. I'm not asking you to trust me. You want this done right or you want it done quickly? Because you can't have it both ways. You want it done quickly, we'll do it. And you know what'll happen? Just what happened last time. Those same Spygate collusion perpetrators sued the government, got money, got all this shit. You want that? We'll do it. We'll do it quickly and do it wrong.
But are you saying you found things that even you didn't know about? I mean, you were at the core of this.
Yes. I was the lead Russiagate investigator for the House Intelligence Committee. And I've been on both your shows in a prior life talking about it. And I'm telling you and the American public that we have now found material and information and people who wanted to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. And we, as the deputy said, we are trying to do it in a fashion where not only are we informing the American public of what happened, but we can have accountability for it. And that takes a little bit more time. And when you layer on the fact that we are rolling out our priorities on violent crime and defending the homeland, we're running a 3-part animal here, and we're going 100 miles an hour on each single one.
So important.
I want to add to that too, because what the director's saying is right. You got to remember, when we come in the morning, there's a portfolio of 100 level 10 items. If it's a level 9, which is a pretty big freaking deal, someone else fixed it. The only thing that gets to my desk or his is a level 10. That's the entire day. Look at his schedule any given day. I'll show you the palm card I have. It is filled from 7:30 to he leaves 7 at night, 6:30 at night.
Dan Bonadingo, Kash Patel, on the government corruption that they've uncovered so far.
And possibly arrest Jim Comey after the former FBI director posted an image on social media suggesting a call to assassinate President Trump. Comey was interviewed by the Secret Service on Friday and is now facing a string of federal probes after he posted an image of a beach scene with seashells arranged in the numbers 8647, writing this: "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." The number 86 typically refers to elimination, and President Trump is, of course, the 47th president. After much public outcry on social media, Comey took down the post, claiming he was not aware that 86 refers to eliminating something and that he opposes violence. There have already been 2 assassination attempts on President Trump's life, which are still under investigation by the FBI.
Whoa. Did you guys just hear that? The ex-FBI director, James Comey, posted I'm not even going to repeat it because I'm not white. I didn't know that. This world, because they got us focused on Diddy. Let's get back to the news. Oh my God.
Told me he is in the middle of an active investigation into this matter. Days earlier, the 2 walked us through Comey's weaponization of the FBI, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, as well as some of the other important cases that they are working on, including drug and human trafficking cells.
You were truth tellers on all of this, and you were as well, Dan, throughout the Russia collusion story and the rest.
Look, I can speak to the folks that were in our seats, our predecessors, and they intentionally failed the American public by putting on the biggest DC deception game we've ever seen. They said the FBI was the most storied institution for law enforcement, and it was, and it will be again very soon. But when the likes of Comey and McCabe and Strzok and company came in here with the James Bakers of the world and intentionally lied to a federal court, only to rig a presidential election by lying to the American public and using taxpayer dollars, likely illegally, to fund this entire operation, and then withhold exculpatory information from a federal court that I used to appear before to manhunt terrorists, that's what broke the FBI. And then when they were caught, they lied about it. And you and a few others like Dan and others were brave enough to cover it 6, 7, 8 years ago. And we're still talking about it today because as Congress is working rigorously with us, the Crossfire Hurricane documents are coming fast and hard, and they're being sent there unredacted so we can have full accountability. And that's how you restore what the trust that was lost to the American public when it comes to the FBI.
Yeah, but
Man, so great interview, man. Great interview. You know, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino has got a lot of flack. Now come to find out there's an investigation into Comey. I mean, a lot of people, man, wanted that to happen, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else we got here.
From the media perspective, the chaos. Remember, nothing worked like we thought it was going to work. So the director and I, we've both been deeply inspired, obviously, as everyone in America was, by that tragic, horrible incident. But I know when Kash and I are sitting there in the morning, that is the single motivating factor for us is keep.
What y'all think, man? I think they did a good job, man. I think they represented well. I think Trump did a good job of appointing both of these guys. I know there's been some controversy on the way they've been dealing with the deportations and stuff like that. You know, I'm not going to give my opinion.
Possibly. And I would say this, that there has to be systemic changes to the Justice Department, which is happening. They're cutting a lot of people out of the Justice Department. They're firing people, they're reassigning people. They're making the structural changes, so we're not playing whack-a-mole going forward. So or putting a Band-Aid over a gaping wound, and so they're actually going in and fixing the real systemic problems at Main Justice and at the various litigating divisions, and also at the FBI. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are doing a hell of a good job.
I agree.
Do this, but I'm going to announce it on your show anyway. This FBI is leaving the Hoover building because this building is unsafe for our workforce, and we want the workforce.
You just gave up a big nugget.
And you know, I didn't know that I was going to do this, but I'm going to announce it on your show anyway. This FBI is leaving the Hoover building because this building is unsafe for our workforce, and we want the workforce.
You just gave up a big nugget.
And you know, I didn't know that I was going to do this, but I'm going to announce it on your.
Like, there is a real deep state. Kash Patel says he doesn't even want to work in the same building. He said his FBI is no longer going to work in the Hoover building because the Hoover building is not safe. I think he is worried about when it comes to corruption and inception and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think he's referring to.
I haven't seen it. It's about a half hour long, but it goes by fast because it's just chock full of information. And you can see now why the Democrats are just floundering and they don't have a leader. All they have is just marching orders and slogans like, oh, we're going to move forward, right? But the reality is the walls are closing in on them, and conveniently, Biden has cancer. Now, we all knew what this playbook was going to be. They were going to use Biden as a scapegoat the whole time. Whether he had dementia or whether he was dead, he's the perfect scapegoat for everything that's been going on. I mean, let's face it. They backed themselves into a corner by releasing this evidence that he had dementia or he wasn't capable of running for a second term, let alone running the White House. Now the whole auto pen thing is being revisited, causing speculation and concern. Well, if you had dementia, who was authoring all of this legislation and all these executive orders, not to mention the over 1,000 pardons. And now you got Bongino and Kash Patel literally going through the FBI files and finding shit that we all knew was out there on the Bidens and Burisma and the paybacks and Susan Rice and everything, you name it. And now all of a sudden, yeah, Biden's got cancer. So in essence, they're
Yeah. That's your Monday. That's your Monday, baby. That's your Monday. That's your freaking Monday, baby. That is your freaking Monday. Huh? That is your freaking Monday. Kash Patel, Dan Bonadingo dropped freaking bombs on their interview on the deep state, on the existence and the power. I had something on Kash Patel and stealing the election. I want to show that, man. I want to show Kash Patel election because they talk about the election. I had that before I get out of here. I'm going to see if I can find Kash Patel election.
in our seats, our predecessors. And they intentionally failed the American public by putting on the biggest DC deception game we've ever seen. They said the FBI was the most storied institution for law enforcement, and it was. And it will be again very soon. But when the likes of Comey and McCabe and Strzok and company came in here with the James Bakers of the world and intentionally lied to a federal court only to rig a presidential election by lying to the American public and using taxpayer dollars, likely illegally, to fund this entire operation and then withhold exculpatory information from a federal court that I used to appear for to manhunt terrorists, that's what broke the FBI. And
do y'all understand what he just said, man? Kash Patel said he going after people for rigging an election. He said they rigged an election. And then we want to talk about Diddy. This is what should be today's news. Kash Patel, Dan Bonadingo going after the deep state, James Comey for rigging in a presidential election. The big, beautiful bill passing out of committee so you can pressure your Congress to vote for it because your congressman has your vote in a job and he's supposed to be doing a job for you. But you won't know to call your congressman and pressure him if you listen to the Diddy trial. Now, I'm going to do some more Diddy content. I am. But that's my job. That's my job. So I'm going to do some more Diddy content. But what I would advise you to do is to measure how much time you spend on a distraction because it is a distraction. And what you should be concerned about is this legislation and previous legislation that made 80 to 90% of Americans vote for Trump. And this legislation passing so that in 2028, we don't have a backlash back into the bullshit that we just came from. It is so important that we have a signature legislation to run on for the midterms and for 2028. This policy and legislation is extremely important. That's why it's been noted and touted the one big, beautiful bill. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Perfect Time Podcast, back with the blast, in out with the dash. One big, beautiful bill up in your big, beautiful deal. And I'm out, and you know the thrill. Baby boy.